Hello there, friends. Welcome to Flight Simulator. Time to have a little bit of fun as we get into another flight through Neofly. Let's get you updated on what we're going to be doing today. Already got my two other pilots on their way on two other jobs, and I have one lined up for myself. We're going to be flying to... what happened? Hold, please. Here we are. Going to KRDM. We're going to be taking off KPDT, and we're taking some valuables. We got to be very careful. Ground speed, vertical speed under 200 feet per minute. So knowing my abilities with landing in this plane, I will have some learning to do this episode. Now, taking a look here, we are missing 356 pounds. So we'll have a little bit of adjustment to make before we take off. So let's go ahead and get things started here in Flight Simulator. By the way, thank you very much to my channel members, who I have explicitly told them not to be channel members here anymore, but they are still around. And not only are they still around, but another person has joined the ilk. How dare you, when I have made sure that everyone knows that I am officially attempted retired from YouTube, and I just do this little thing for the giggles of it. But now, hello. All right, this is not the right one. This is not what I meant to do. Go back to main menu. All right, so we're going to go to memberships here. And we're going to go to free flight mode. There we go. So, big thank you here. By the way, yes, I make a whole $12 from you guys. But big thanks to Mark Stinger. Stinger, for joining our group of Band of Merry Men. I assume it's all men. Big thank you to everyone who supports the channel. I deeply appreciate it. Like I said, you don't need to be following anymore, because I'm not making any guarantees from here on out. So, unsubscribe, keep your money. And thank you so much for your support. All right, KPDT. Okay. We're in Oregon, and we're going to be flying to KRDM. All right, Roberts Field. We need a place to load up, but not a place to stop. So there we go. Let's go ahead and start the flight.
I know it's going to be a good day when my favorite pilot is working.
All right, before we take off here, let's go ahead and check on the plane.
Transporter from dispatch. Good morning. The sensitive cargo mission will start as soon as you get in your aircraft in the parking.
All right, we're going to get this up to 50%.
Aircrew, be advised, today's fragile cargo is being manually handled onto the aircraft at the customer's request.
All right. So taking a look here, here's where we're parked at P0. And we will be making our way to...
Flight crew, be advised, the fragile cargo looks extremely delicate. We have secured it the best we can. Please taxi with caution.
I doubt you have. So we're going to go to airports, or search airport list. We're going to go KRDM. Kilo, Romeo, Delta, Mike. Whoa. I didn't mean to do any of this. Okay. So let's go back here. By the way, I have the major sniffles today, so you have been warned. Kilo, Romeo, Delta, Mike. All right, we have an ILS of 109.0. Oh, 109.1, so that's what I will be looking for as we get ready to take off. I'd also like to try a VOR with OBS. We'll see if we get that to work. Okay. Like I said, sniffles. So, put up with it or leave. Can you tell I'm in good spirits? All right. Engine covers are off. And we're not going to get very far with chucks. There we go. And this bird's ready to go. Beautiful bird. Just wish she flew a little better for me. I wish I could reverse her trim. That would be one thing I would love to do. All right, let me blow my nose here really quick with this lovely paper towel. It's rougher than sandpaper. You're welcome for muting. That was loud, obnoxious, and in no way ASMR. Okay. So sniffly. All right, before we take off, let's go ahead and start with our flight performance. Center of gravity. We have... Let me get my little nav map onto my alternate screen. And get my Neofly on the lower screen. 356 pounds missing. So let's start with the cargo in the nose. And we can easily do 150 pounds here, 150 pounds here, load aircraft. So now we can go to seats. Now we're off by 56 pounds, so let's go ahead and go here and do 56 pounds here. All right, we're not great on the MAC, so let me try and back this off by 100 pounds. Hold, please. This is not the smoothest programming system, I'll tell you that. This flight simulator, as beautiful as it is, just does not bring to the table what the older flight simulators did. And that's such a shame, because it's the most attractive out of the bunch. But it's missing just general good working systems and AI that runs better, and a better career mode, which is why we have to use an external third-party career mode. That's not complaining, that's just general fact. So, alright, here we go. Let's boot things up. So, fuel pumps are on, alternators are on, masters are on. Let's go ahead and do AV, pilot master, master heat. We're going to go ahead and do this. Position and strobe are both on. Landing and taxi we don't need. So we're pretty booted up here at the moment. I can go ahead and start our engines. And then shut down our fuel pumps.
Contact the tower for clearance.
All right. So, something I would like to do. KRDM is where we're headed, but I would like to find a VOR and try it out. There is a VOR called DSD at 117.6. I've never done an OBS, so I would like to try that. So, just for giggles, let's change our CDI to Localizer 2. And in Localizer 2, I want to try 117.6. Okay, so we're going to go to Navigation 17.6. Now, the reality is, this might be where we need to have multiple VORs. And I've never done this before. So this is where I'm going to get a reality check. All right, right now we have DSD as the VOR. And right now, I need to double check my math. DSD, and that one is DSD. All right, cool. So we have that working. Now, I would like to try this as an OBS signal. Oh, that's interesting. Did that just say OBSP? No, I'm not sure what that means. This is interesting, so I can turn on OBS. but I don't see how to adjust it like you would on an older airplane. And maybe that's the fact. Maybe there simply isn't a necessity for this in a newer airplane, but I was curious. So we got our CDI. There's our GPS. Localizer 1, which I would like Localizer 1 to be with KRDM at 109.1. So let's go ahead and change our navigation to 109.1. Alright, and swap her out. Alright, 109.1. So we have both of our encodings done. OBS is triggered. And at this moment, that's interesting. If I look at my system here, we go KRDM and look at that OBS. That alignment right here looks like the same alignment as this one. So that's very interesting. I'm not entirely sure how that works. Now, if I look at where I am versus where I need to go, our localizer doesn't have a radial. Huh. This should be interesting. So, and localizer 2 is the one I should be looking for. And I'm very curious why it doesn't seem to have a radial. So let's go ahead and do OBS on. And we're going to go VOR localizer 2. And I'm going to see what happens. I think that this is going to be a major learning curve, but I would sure like to give this a shot. So, happy with everything we got going on here. Let's go ahead and take off our parking brakes. Let's get our radio turned on here. We're going to depart straight out.
Pendleton ground. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Request taxi for takeoff. Departing straight out. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Taxi to and hold short of runway 26 using taxiway Alpha Cross runway 29er Bravo Charlie. Contact tower on 119.7 when ready.
Okay.
Taxi to and hold short runway 26 via taxiway Alpha Cross runway 2, 9er Bravo Charlie. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
All right. I'm going to have ground services push me back.
Pendleton ground. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Requesting pushback. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Pushback request accepted.
All right, make sure there's nothing behind me. Oh boy, there certainly is. So we will not be doing this very long. Pushback steer to the left.
Pendleton ground.
Oh gosh.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft
Nope,
to the
stop,
left.
stop.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Oh!
Transmitted to the operator.
No, stop.
Pendleton ground.
No!
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Oh, my land.
Requesting the end of pushback.
Oh, so this is the worst.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Oh, my word.
Request to end pushback received.
Ridiculous. I mean, that is truly ridiculous. Okay. Seriously. Terrible. Okay, let's go ahead and get our comms moved off screen so it doesn't bug you guys. And we're ready-ish. That thing needs to go away because that's where I'm going. Yeah, get out of my way, please. Okay, throttle up. This is gonna end badly. Come on, get that nose around. Alright. Looks like we're okay. Okay, so once again, we got to be super careful about taxi, because we do have very specific stuff in hand. So this will make the flight very interesting, partially annoying, and then some. Boy, I am cuddled up to these planes. That's a plane I'd like to get our hands on. That's a Caravan, I believe. Cessna 208 Caravan. And that carries a lot of weight, which means we can take bigger jobs. I think it's a turboprop. And this plane's really great. I mean, it'll fly at a really good rate of speed. We can get up to 170 knots in this thing without fail. 160, 170, so it makes for a lot more flights in a good way. The trim in this plane is always the worst part. At least if you enjoy flying the way that I do. And that's by using my my column. I have a power column here with multiple ways of controlling things, including a really great trim. Now, I have a trim set up on the hat of my yoke, but I also have a nose up, nose down gear on my throttle quadrant that looks just like that. Problem is, this plane seems to have it reversed. Now, there's certainly a possibility of a way to invert it. Not something I've looked into. These days, my main way of fixing it is learning how to do it opposite. But I'm also going to check my hat. So that goes lower, or nose up, nose down. So I can use my hat key as I would expect, and maybe I should do that for this and other flights on this DA-62. It's very frustrating to do one of these sensitive cargo flights, and your nose just goes taking off into the sky because your trim is set way too high. Wow, this is a very long chuck out to the runway. And once again, very confused about the VOR. I mean, if it was an older OBS system, I think I would have a bit more of a clue, but in this situation, I really don't. I mean, we have the right VOR in call, but I don't necessarily understand why this is pointing where it is, and I don't see a way to adjust it. So, well, while we're getting this set up, let's go ahead and get ourselves at 9,000 feet. 9,500 sounds fine. We'll go ahead and get ready for altitude hold mode here in a little bit. No yaw dampener yet. We already have that on. Heading at this moment, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure if this GPS is giving me... Not GPS, but... this OBS radial is giving me any kind of a clue. I need to get airborne before I actually get a better understanding of how that's supposed to work for me. I do think that it will require a manual control with heading bug, which I'm perfectly fine with once we work out those details. Okay, Pendleton Tower. Request takeoff.
Pendleton Tower, Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Ready for departing straight out at runway 26.
Legacy Air India, Mike Sierra 8022. Altimeter 29er 2, departing straight out approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 26.
Cleared for takeoff runway 26. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Alrighty. Hello, Pixel. Nope, no viewers today, and that's very normal. Okay. Alrighty, ready for takeoff. Let's go ahead and get flaps down. Let's turn off our gates, because I don't need them. Let's also have a bit more of a clue on which way we need to go with our header bug here. Let's go ahead and get that set up to, at this moment, 120 degrees, since I'm not entirely sure, so I'm just going to point myself in the general area once we're in the air. Trim right now is set just a little bit with nose down. So I'm just going to be nose down here for a brief second as we get ready to take off. And we're ready to rock and roll. So, here we go. Remember, we got to be super gentle with this cargo. Rotation at about 75. Okay. Looking for rotation. Rotation hit. Trim up, trim up, trim up. Not too fast. Trim up. And we're gone.
Nice takeoff, pilot. Have a safe, steady flight.
Will do. Okay. We got flaps up, nose down, with the trim on the hat. Okay. We're going to go ahead and trim to the right. Get rid of this left-hand turn a little bit. Trim down. Okay. Good. Let's get our landing gear up. Look at that. We have a VOR. This is interesting. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to hit that VOR. I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work just yet. Right now, we need to be heading towards. So I'm going to start with just swinging around towards my heading bug. I'll fly manually for the moment. Pixel, this is Flight Simulator 2024. I believe they have a PlayStation version. I know I'm using a... it might be a Microsoft Xbox. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's check our alignment now. So I see that little arrow here that I think it means we're heading in the right direction. So I'm going to go ahead and turn.
Pendleton Tower, Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Frequency change. Spokane approach, Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022 is type Diamond DA62, 4 miles southwest of Pendleton, 3700. Request flight following.
All right, let's get our nose down slightly.
022, open approach. Squawk 0576.
Squawk 0576. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Okay, so far so good.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Radar contact 5 miles southwest of Pendleton, 4300. Altimeter 29992.
Altitude hold mode is on. Vertical sync is now on as well as we climb, excuse me. We're going to go 600 feet. Heading bug, let's go ahead and get that in at 201. Autopilot is on. Okay. And we're also going to turn on our heading. So now we're flying towards the VOR. And it does look like we're actually doing what I'm intending to do. Hopefully we'll see that VOR start to cross with us here in a few moments. Maybe. We'll find out. All right. Flaps are up. Landing gear is up. Flight planner showing us nowhere. I have no idea where we are. There we are. Wow, we're way off of trajectory, which is interesting. Just for giggles, since I'm still learning this, I'm going to turn a little bit more into the VOR to see if we can capture this thing. So at this moment, we're definitely not flying with GPS, because I'm really trying to learn a little bit more about this system. Now, usually there'd be a knob on the OBS that would allow you to rotate it, and it would tell you how to get into alignment with this VOR. Technically, it could be doing that automatically for us, since it is a newer plane than the old 152, 172s from the Cessnas. But I don't have any kind of guarantee of that, so all I'm doing is just trying my best for giggles, and we're going to see if it actually works. So now we get to hurry up and wait. I keep thinking I'm seeing it move. It's teasing me. See, it jerked, but not jerked in the proper way. So, well, I think I'm coming over top the VOR. What I'm actually looking at is this blue line on my Neofly, which has me on the opposite side, which is incorrect if we're basing it off of what we're trying to accomplish with this VOR. We should be flying towards that line, and once we're connected, that line should be lined up with this line, technically. Where I am confused is you would tell the VOR whether you're heading towards or away from it. I see this arrow, which makes me think we're heading away from it. Now, I know by looking at my systems, we're heading towards it. But when I look here, I see this little arrow, and I think that one represents what we're looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for, so there is that. Now, I would like to get to the point here a little faster, so I'm going to go ahead and turn us into this VOR much quicker, and see if we can't intercept this VOR much faster. Part of the question is, if the...
Sierra India Mike Sierra 8022, contact center on 132.6. Good day.
Quiet radio.
132.6 for Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Okay, maybe our intercom is quiet. Co-pilot passenger intercom or squelch volume 100. So yeah, we're all the way up. So that's not a very good excuse. So I have a sneaking suspicion on what this is actually trying to accomplish for us. I feel like it's trying to line us up with a vector on the OBS. So I feel like there should be a way to turn this VOR to give us the actual heading that we need. Not really seeing course setting, VOR2. Found it. So now we turn this until it lines up. There we go. Course of 2. All right, let's go ahead and change our course heading to, there we go. Now I'm going to do this and head towards this direction, which looks correct, but here's how we're going to verify. Course direction, I'm going to turn this completely the opposite direction. Okay. Let's see if it lines up with the new effort. Here we go. That is exactly what's happening. So technically now, at 213 degrees, we should be heading exactly to our VOR. And we're going to find that out in a few minutes. It looks good. It looks quite good. So DSD 117.6, it looks like we're more in a direct marker for that than we are for the airport itself. And I'm very happy about that. So I think in a second here, we're going to go ahead and sim rate this thing a little faster to get us there. And we're going to see if we actually figured this out. I do think we've figured this out, but I like learning experiences. So right now, 213 seems to be the closest that we can get. And we are going 213. All right. Now remember, the hardest part of this will be our landing. So we are very high above everything, but I do see some mountain peaks up ahead that we might need to be wary of. So far, though, not much complaints. So let's go ahead and sim rate this up. I don't want to overdo it, but we do have 100 nautical miles to go. So let's do a sim rate of 2, sim rate of 3. What I'm watching right now is I'm watching this VOR2, and it seems like this is tracking off just a tiny bit. So I'm going to go ahead and see why that is. First off, we're going to do... Okay, now we're at 214 to stay on track. So we're going to go 214. What if I do 215? Oh, we got low fuel. Low fuel. Why do we have low fuel? Low fuel, quality per gallon, auxiliary fuel. All right. Let me check my EFB, because that is going to, and I hate to do it, but I didn't check to see how much fuel was in this plane before we took off, and sometimes you gotta cheat. Let's go to aircraft, flight performance, mass and balance, fuel. Okay. So we're gonna do a quick fill. Up to 15, load aircraft. Load immediately. Now we shouldn't have that warning anymore. I hate to do that, but that is what is happening. Okay. So looking at the airport KRDM that we will be landing at, our pressure is 30.17. So let's go ahead while we're here and change our barometric pressure to 30.07. All right, barometric pressure is altering, which is fine. Changing our direction slightly to see if that brings us back to the VOR or not. See if that realigns us. I'm assuming it will, but it might not, because that might be an OBS tuning. And if that's the case, then we'll have to adjust with our course setting to see. But I am very curious to see if by doing this, it brings us back in alignment with the VOR as we near it. Right now, I am a little concerned about this range up here as we sit at 9,500 feet. So as we get closer over there, I will be looking to possibly adjust and possibly climb if we need to. At this moment, I don't see that VOR coming back. I'm watching the little tip of this arrow to see if this line falls within it, to see if we're correcting or not. I don't know. Sure doesn't look like it. Now, if I change our system here, we can see 215. And then we set our heading to 215. And then we should stay fairly on course. So, I think I understand the system, but I also think I don't quite understand it just yet, and how the mechanics of the OBS works for course correction. All right, speed back up again. Right now, according to UTC, it is noon. Well, at this moment, I think we're going to be okay over these mountains. I think we'll be squeezing it a little tighter than I would prefer, but I think we'll be okay. The further range actually has me more concerned. Our course correction needs to be changed a little. Okay, so now we're at 217. I'm going to go 218. So the goal, if we do this right, is to fly directly over top that VOR. And if we do that, then I will, for the most part, understand the science behind this. I hope. Maybe not understand the science, but at least know how to utilize it. I keep doing tiny course corrections to make sure that we sit over top what I think is the VOR line. We do seem to be getting very close, and we're not as in alignment as I would prefer. Now, also, the closer we get, the more we will have to correct. So that is definitely part of the situation at play here. So I'm going to go ahead and overdo it by 2. Let's see if that brings us in. Because right now, according to our system, we are not in alignment perfectly with that VOR. So, well, we might be. Now, this test is going to require me to fly past the airport, then turn around, then line up for ILS. So we still have a little bit of flying to do, even though technically we're about to overfly the airport here in probably about 3 minutes. So, for the most part, I feel like we should be seeing the airport somewhere out here. That might be it right there. I can't tell, though. But first, we're going to see about this VOR. Checking. Still looking fairly okay. I do think overcorrection might be the better bet. So I'd rather it be too far. As long as we fly over this DSD, we're going to find out here. It will be a good learning situation. Now, we are up quite high, so, and considering that we have to land under 200 feet per second, I'm going to begin our descent down to 3,500, technically 3,000. Okay, and we're going to do this very slowly and methodically with vertical sync down at 200 feet per minute and no more. So it's going to be a long time till we get down, but, you know, comes with the territory of flying dangerous cargo. All right. Let's check our corrections again. And we're going to go 224. We are looking very close to hitting our DSD. And I'm going to go ahead and pull in little nav. And here's our DSD right here that we're shooting for. As you can see, it's well past the airport. And we will be flying, we're actually overflying the ILS right now. So we will be circling back. But at this moment, we do seem fairly in alignment with this DSD. And that's cool. That means I'm learning stuff. So let me go ahead and pull that back up and get it off screen. There we go. Just full screen it. Okay. Every time I see that VOR just hit a little bit to the right, that's when I course correct and then course correct. So we're changing the course setting, and then we're changing the heading to match the course setting. 9,100 feet. This is taking a long time. Double checking that we are definitely active for nose down. I am going to pull back on our throttle just a touch. I probably should have been dropping our airspeed and coming down a good long ways ago. That is the problem with doing sim rate. It makes you overshoot things by a lot because it's just too easy. too easy is a dangerous thing.
Redmond Tower, Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022 tree miles north 8900 to land.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022, Redmond Tower. Altimeter 29902, fly left base runway 23.
All right, we're almost over top our VOR. I think we figured out the science, but I'm still following through with this as correctly as I can. I'm also double checking that we are looks like we're doing okay. All right, DDK 0 in 2 seconds and 1 second. All right. So we're overshooting our stuff because we just went past the airport. But once again, that's not what we're looking for this very brief moment. All right. Out of the danger of what we're doing here, I'm going to go ahead and bring us down to 500 feet per minute. Let's go ahead and adjust our VOR. All right, pull up my communication system here. I can't find it anywhere. I'm looking. I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Let's try it up here. Looks like we already have it triggered. There it is. Acknowledge pattern entry instructions.
Fly left base runway 23. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
So, they say fly 29, altimeter 29902. That doesn't make sense because right now their altimeter is, let's see, Roberts Field KRDM. Flight plan remarks, flight plan, KRDM. It's 30.16 right now. So I'm very confused with that. I don't understand why it'd be 29902. Okay, so let's correct here again. Why isn't anything working? Okay, course correction. So 231. We are going to perfectly hit this at this point. Which, honestly, this system here, without GPS, means we can perfectly hit VORs to the T without autopilot. I mean, yes, we're using autopilot for our vertical and our heading. So, yes, technically we are doing autopilot, but we're doing autopilot in a very manual way. And we'll know when we hit this because it will directly, like spin around. I think this arrow will face this way. And we're about to hit this thing any second now. That's why we're having to make an awful lot of course corrections here. Because we are just about to ride directly over top this here in about 2 seconds. There it goes. It's separating. So we could not be more on top of this. And in a moment here, this arrow is going to switch to the bottom. Here we go. And that means we'll be flying away from it. And we are sitting directly over top. We've lost the VOR. And there we go, it's backwards. We figured it out. I love learning new stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the airport here. Now, airport is, at this moment, airports don't have VORs, so just supposed to get you in the area. We are going to go ahead and turn our systems now over to, let's turn off OBS. We're going to go to our CDI localizer 1, which is going to help us line up with the runway. Let's go ahead now and get ourselves in the right heading. Now, this is not what I'm expecting here for the moment, but we're going to see. I might need to change our course. Yeah, that's the case. So let's go ahead and head towards the airport. Once again, now that I've messed with this, I'm not sure with what I'm doing. But let's just test this out. So we're going to keep turning this until we see the VOR lineup. This is taking a minute, which just makes me feel uneasy. Yeah, this isn't working. Because the only way this would work is if it crosses over here in just a second. Right about now-ish. Nope, it's definitely not happening. Okay, well, once again, learning experience. So, technically, if I was to turn this way to a heading of, I think it's like 2... No. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and get the plane turned around. We'll figure this out in a second, because now we're just getting away from where we want to be. Okay. So I'm just going to hang a Louis and head back towards the airport. Right now, KRDM has 30.16 for Barrow. So we're going to go here, 30.16. There we go. All right, let's keep turning. The one runway we're going to be landing on is runway 23. So 230 degrees once we get there. So technically, I'm wondering if we do our course setting to 230 degrees on here. $230. Approach mode is on. We're still 6,500 feet up. So we need to continue our descent down to 3,000. Right now we have no glide slope, which is going to be incredibly important as we come around here. All right, technically this is saying that our nav should actually be at 226, which the math does not entirely add up with that, but I'm not going to judge it just yet. Let's go ahead and turn a little beyond 226. Now, something I haven't figured out yet are waypoints, bearing and distance. Type RNAV, magnetic declination 14.1. So I haven't learned about magnetic declinations yet. and how they benefit flying. If that's an older thing or just a standard practice, that's one of the things that I still need to learn. But I've learned a lot, which means there's always room to learn more, and it's a ton of fun. So I see something that looks like an airport tower on the right side out my window. So this looks slightly promising up ahead there. Still no glide slope. The alignment for our runway still is confusing to me. We are already at 109.1. Glide slope of 3 degrees, 226 is our approach. That's definitely our runway over there. We have localizer turned on with approach ready. We have a ways to go yet to get back over there. But now we understand at least VORs. And the thing is, I have used this method for landing so many times, for getting lined up with the runway. So this part of it isn't new to me, but now that we've messed around with the course setting by so much, now I'm curious if I'm understanding the science correctly with this as a localizer to get us into the runway, because we're not using OBS. Which technically I wonder if OBS would work for this. So while we're not using it, let's try something. That math is still not adding up. No, it's still not adding up. And if it did, it would feel like it would here in a moment. So once again, I'm waiting for the VOR to cross underneath us to point us in the right direction. And it doesn't seem to be doing that. So I'm going to set this back up for 226. I think it was 226. Let me double check. 226 is correct. So we're going to go 226 for VOR1. Turn off OBS. See, this line here doesn't match up at all with what I'm expecting to see. And that's where I'm confused. Now, it might not be confusing once I get past and turn around to make my way into the runway, because 226 is here. So once I turn that around and I'm in alignment with that, maybe it'll make more sense to me. Because right now we are almost going the opposite direction. I think I might have just clicked in on what we're doing. So if I go here and I line myself perfectly with the back end of this thing, I should be exactly parallel with our runway. 4,500 feet, we're coming down reasonably. Yeah, so we are perfectly parallel now with the runway. Okay. I think I get it. So our runway should be lengthwise coming here. Exactly. Yeah. Cool. Think I'm getting it. All right. Get our comms off screen here so it doesn't get in our way. All right. So yeah, I think this now makes sense. So let's go ahead and verify that our approach is still on. Sure looks like it. We do have glide slope. It is above our heads. That's excellent. So we are ready to begin entering into our ILS. We are still a little under. We're coming up to 4,000 feet, so I'm just going to scoot this up to 4,000. Hi, Coleslaw. I am flying the DA-62 today. All right, we're 4,000 feet.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022 with comm. Clear to land runway 23.
Cleared to land, runway 23.
Clear to land runway 23. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Now, I am going to do the long approach. So, we have a little bit longer before we land. Because we definitely want the proper glide slope as we come in, so that I hopefully don't drop too fast here and mess up our sensitive cargo. .1. All right, so we'll get into our ILS, and once we do that, it'll capture, and then glide slope will come down to meet us, and then it'll capture glide slope. At this point, I want to start figuring out my landing gear and my speed. I would like to come back on the speed just a touch more, down to like 120. Gear down. Flaps 10 degrees. Three green. Beautiful view. Okay. All right, we're losing speed a little too much now. A little bit more throttle. I'm okay with sitting around 100. Turn 90 degrees to our localizer now. This might be a slightly closer approach than I'm intending to do, but main reason is because we're so far below the glide slope still, I feel like we don't need the entire, what I like to call landing ribbon, We don't need the entire ILS approach. I'm still trying to get as much of the band as I can, but this will be a little different. Our glide slope once again is going to be 3 degrees. We cannot land any quicker than 200 feet per second, which is where I fail the strongest. So I'm either going to nail this or fail this. Most likely fail this. And crash into the tower. But we have $10,129 on the line. So I would like to not have that happen. That would be my honest preference. Okay, runway's behind us, which is good. We need to pull down flaps here a bit more. We need to be under 119. You're really close to that. I am about ready to do that. Let's go ahead and try it. See our nose take a little dip there. Okay. Glide slope still looks reasonable. Turning 90 degrees to our localizer. We're about 45 degrees to the localizer, now we're 90. Should see our runway out of our side window here any second now. And we're about to touch our ribbon here. Or the band, the landing band. So I'm going to go ahead as well, watching that glide slope. We're going to go ahead and turn 45 degrees, a little less than 45 degrees, into our ILS. Where hopefully we're going to lock onto our localizer and we will be on our final approach to land. And then things will become very, very interesting, very, very fast.
Cessna 868, leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
All right. Prepping for the localizer. We are coming into the band now. Runway should be right near. Up there. There it is. Alright, we're almost lined up with it. Localizer should lock in here any bit now. We're now in the band. Localizer is locked. Glide slope should start to come in here in a second. Localizer's coming in.
Cessna 868, did you copy?
Tower, Cessna, November 48868, frequency change.
Okay, we're swinging around quite a bit here. I don't like that too much. Let's Still watching our glide slope. We are at 91 knots, which is pretty slow. And as long as we seem fairly lined up, I'm not pulling our autopilot until the last second. Now, looking at the localizer, it's definitely not perfectly in line with that runway. It's not far off, but it's not in perfect alignment. So we will have to do some course correction. That might be a wind situation. We're really close, though. I mean, I don't think I can line up much better than it's doing. Still haven't hit our glide slope yet. I'm waiting for that diamond to start coming down here. And we're staying super slow as well. I'm nearly full throttle as well, while trying to stay up this high with my flaps all the way out like this. Very anxious we're going to overfly this. Approach is on, so we're not going to overfly it. But it's just amazing that 4,000 feet right now has us this close to the runway. Here comes the diamond. This does not feel right. This has me very concerned because we're not supposed to do more than 200 feet per second when we land. So I have a feeling we're going to be heading downhill here pretty fast. And then the goal is to course correct as much as I can right at the end when I take off autopilot. All right, here we go. Glide slope is on, 3 degrees continues. Here we go. All right, we are 350, 400, 450, 500 feet per second as we head down, slowing down to capture the right speed. Remember, rotation is at 75. I feel like we're up so high. I mean, our glide slope is still good, but we're up so high. It doesn't make any sense for this airport. We're right at rotation, which feels dangerous as all get out. really nursing my speed. Because I'm really trying to be careful of that rotation. This does not feel right. Okay, unfortunately, I think we are about to touch down. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. 350. Getting it fueled up, so we need to be dropping a lot less. Autopilot is off. Pulling back on the yoke. Oh man. We're going really slow. I wonder if my sim rate is too slow. Should be a real smooth landing, though, if we can touch down. There we go.
Transporter from dispatch. Nice landing. Go to the parking and put your parking brake on. I'll be in touch.
Our sim rate must be too low, because that was way
Taxi to
too...
parking and shut down your engine.
That was way too smooth. Like, that wasn't even a little smooth. That was way too smooth. So I'm wondering if our sim rate messed up. Okay, I just turned sim rate up by 1. I mean, that was impressive, but that didn't seem realistic at all. The other thing is, what's my height? It says I'm 3,300 feet up still. Even though we changed our barometric pressure. So, I'm just going to go park straight ahead and call it. Something felt really weird about that, though. I didn't care for that at all. I mean, yeah, that was a super smooth landing, but you saw how slow that was and how inaccurate that was. So that's worth looking over again. Okay. Well, we should have happy customers and a bunch of money, which is definitely a necessity.
Transporter. Cargo unloading in progress. Stand by, pilot.
Okay, make sure everything's off, so we're not killing our battery.
Transporter from dispatch. The cargo was picked up by the customer. Your mission is completed.
Yay!
Ready for engine start.
That was a very troublesome flight. Let's check on our boys. That one's already flying still. This one's ready for work. So let's get him some work. Let's see. There you go. Let's check out your plane. See how you're holding up. You're good on fuel. We'll pop you up to the max. What is this? Mechanical parts. Okay. Well, your plane looks good. 82%'s nothing to laugh at. Your plane is running out of gas, but you're doing okay. Your plane looks fine. My plane's the troublesome one. I would like to get it up a little higher. So we'll drop 10 grand into this one. There we go. So that puts me at 60%. Any planes in this area that I want to know about that would be affordable? I'd love to get a JMB. I think that'd be a great plane for hiring another pilot for. 93,000 though isn't very good for us. Everything when it comes to rentals is way out there. It'd be cool to get something like this, but that's to buy, that's not to rent. So there aren't any rentals here that are within our realm. Like this one, A10. Well, first off, we don't have anyone who could fly it, nor do we want to. Deposit is $3 million. I mean, we can't even get above 20,000 because we can't even maintain our own airplanes. All right, so let's go ahead and come back to here. There is... Okay, I was about to say there are no flights for us, but there are a few. Let's go ahead and refresh this. So we have another dangerous flight, KMFR. Another 10 grand, which sounds reasonable to me. So let's load that flight up.
Transporter from dispatch. Good morning. The sensitive cargo mission will start as soon as you get in your aircraft in the parking.
KMFR, and I think I'm fully loaded, but I'm just trying to see if there's any
Transporter,
KMFRs.
loading has started. Stand by.
Doesn't look like it. So, okay, KMFR is our next flight. Hop in the plane. Let me go ahead and move my comms out of the way of my little nav
Flight
map.
crew, be advised, the fragile cargo looks extremely delicate. We have secured it the best we can. Please taxi with caution.
Okay, so now we're going to go KMFR. All right, KMFR does have an ILS of 110.3. So let's go ahead and get things up and running here and get on our way here. So let's turn these guys on. Let's do... All right. Uh-oh.
Everything looks good from where I'm sitting. Taxi to the runway and take off.
Okay. Here we go, as we wait for everything to come up. We're good on lights. Let's go ahead and get our flaps up. There we go. Alright, so we're flying KMFR. So out of curiosity, where is KMFR? We're flying back. No, we're still flying down. That's cool. We're flying towards the coast. So I am curious to possibly try and do more of this as a VOR flight, just as a learning experience. Where our airport is that we want to go, there is a VOR right there at 113.6. So let's go ahead and set that up in Localizer 2. So let's go to CDI, Localizer 2, and we're going to set it for 113.6. 113.6. Okay, and let's send that in. Right now, it doesn't have a read of the VOR, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. Our other piece of information is that we are going to be coming in at 110.3. So let's go to Localizer 1. And this one's going to be 110.3. And let's send that one in. All right, so both our systems are integrated, so we're good to go there. Localizer 1, we don't have any kind of programming for that right now. Let's go ahead and hop to Localizer 2. Put that into OBS mode as well. Right now, it's not even recognizing it as a part of our system, so I doubt that doing this is going to give us any kind of report at this time. Right now, when we take off, I would assume we're going to take off runway 23. We'll see as we head out here. See what we get as a request. Let's go here. Let's see. All right, let's go ahead and turn to ground services. And we're going to taxi for takeoff options. Taxi depart straight out.
Redmond ground. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Request taxi for takeoff. Departing straight out.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Taxi to and hold short of runway 2 tree via taxiway Golf Foxtrot cross runway 2 tree Alpha Bravo. Contact tower on 124.5 when ready.
124.5 when ready. Acknowledge taxi clearance.
Taxiing. Hold short runway 2 tree via taxiway Golf Foxtrot cross runway 2 tree Alpha Bravo. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Alright, we'll go ahead and hide our comms for the moment, because we have a pretty good idea where runway 23 is, since that's where we just landed. So I'm hoping there's a taxiway that takes us that way right now. I would assume that that is it right there. So let's go ahead and zoom in on this. Yeah, it sure looks like it. Looks like we've got to go over a runway. This will be a check both directions before you cross the street scenario. Okay. Alright, I don't see any planes coming in on my little nav map, so against my better instincts, we'll go ahead and overfly it, or go over top of it. There's supposed to be a plane out to my left here. Huh. Maybe it was behind us. Okay. So far, so good. So things I'm still trying to understand, for instance, is... Whoops. Which way would I look to know which way the airport is? I'm sure I just took out a runway light. So that's part of my concern is I can look at my little nav map and turn my plane, but that's basically using it like a GPS. And to me, that's cheating in this situation. The more that I do this, the more I want to be very precise in my choices. And I think it would be really easy if I had a compass heading that I could pay attention to. And little nav map has something like that, like it shows north. So frankly, north, south, and then east is to the right, west is wrong to the left. That's just how I do the math. And with that in mind, then I need to head southwest. And if that's the case, a little less than southwest would be the game plan. So that's what I'll do. I'll take off and start heading southwest until I can get the VOR locked in. And what would probably be the better move is to find a secondary VOR that I would hit before going for the primary VOR, because I don't have a connection to anything right now. Okay, so we're locked in here. I'm just going to put on my parking brake for the moment, get my comms back up, request takeoff.
Redmond Tower, Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Ready for departure to the west at runway 2 tree.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Altimeter 299er2 departure to the west approved. Cleared for takeoff runway 2 tree.
Okay.
Cleared for takeoff runway 2 tree. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Flaps down 10 degrees. comms closed. And they're not closing. Brakes. Okay. Let's try this again. I think I need to be clicked into Flight Simulator to turn off comms. There we go. Okay. Trim down. Trim up. Trim down, trim down, trim down, trim down. Too much, too
Transporter,
much.
have a nice flight. Keep the
Too
cargo
much.
secure.
Yeah, it would have broken by now if, yeah, that would have been broken by now. Okay, flaps up. Gear up. And we'll handle prop rotation.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Continue for west departure.
Continue
Redmond
for
Tower,
west departure.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Continue for west departure.
Alright, trying to correct for the plane rotating too much to the left. I think I got it. Trim it down. Okay. Alright, so I'm heading out for west departure. I'm waiting to hear back from them here in just a few
Redmond Tower,
seconds.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. 4700 to land.
That's not what I said.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Redmond Tower. Altimeter 29902.
We're canceling intentions because I sure didn't say that.
Fly left traffic runway 2 tree. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Redmond Tower. Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022.
Not sure why that happened.
Cancel landing intention.
Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022. Your cancellation is received.
Okay, I'm gonna wait and see what happens once we get out of this airspace. Which right now this airspace says that we could be anywhere from 0 to 17,999 MSL. So we'll see what happens once we pass this clearance. And I'm hoping that the tower is going to let us leave and we can begin our proper departure out to our VOR. The other thing I'm going to be looking for is to see if there's any other VORs. There's certainly waypoints. Here's a VOR, which is RBG 114.45. And then there's a VOR, the one that I was going to shoot for anyway. And they can't be that far apart. So that's where I'm confused on how to manage VORs. If you can't... Okay, 113.6 OED. So it's recognizing it now. And we're outside of airspace, so I'm going to go ahead and start making my way there. Because I'm a little confused now. Alright, so VOR. Let's go ahead and figure out what direction to be going. With OBS turned on, and we are heading in the direction. We're going to turn this until we hit our... There it is. So right there, we need to be going at 195 degrees. Let's get our heading bug to 195 degrees. We are not in autopilot, so we can get ready for that. Our altitude at this point in time, 4,000 feet. Autopilot's on. Oh my land. Oh my, what on earth? No. Alright. Yaw dampener on. Flight director on. Heading bug on. There we are. Altitude on. Going to 4,000 feet. I'm not happy that we don't seem to have a proper pressure. So at this moment, I'm going to go ahead and set this barometer to 29902. Since I'm not sure what happened there. So we need to be at 4,000 feet. No, we don't. We can sit at 8,000 feet for now because we... Oh. 10 nautical miles? Oh, I'm going away from it. No, that's fine. We're doing good. VOR is in good alignment. So far we're doing just fine. One thing I haven't done is programmed in where our location is. So we're doing just fine at this moment. We just don't know how far away it is. So technically, we're probably doing a form of dead reckoning at this moment. Landing gear's up, right? Yes, landing gear is up. And flaps are up. Okay. Doing 182 knots, that's nice. Let's go ahead and put ourselves at 8,000 feet, and technically probably better to put us at 9,000 feet. Vertical on, and we're going to tell it to climb 200 feet per minute, just to get us over these the mountains here, which I think that our airport is just before those mountains.
Skywest Tree 60. Descend and maintain 2400.
Okay.
Descend and maintain 2400.
Reason why we don't know how far away it is because we haven't not programmed in here. So we're going to KMFR. So let's go ahead and program in KMFR in here.
Climb and maintain 4600. Skywest Tree 60.
There's a K. Uh-oh. Okay. M. F. And R. KMFR, Medford. Enter and activate. Now we're 118 nautical miles away. Now, we're not utilizing the GPS to get us there, though we absolutely could, but it is at least going to give us an idea of how long it's going to take us to get there. At 118, we're definitely going to be overflying.
Skywest Tree 60. You are 1500 above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 4600 altimeter 29902.
Okay. All right.
Descend and maintain 4600. Skywest Tree 60.
Right now we're sitting at 196. So we're flying steady here. You know what I didn't do? We're missing 92 pounds. So we're not going to get a bonus. That stinks. We had an additional 25 XP that we would have gotten if I had flown with the proper weight. But I'm off by 92 pounds because I didn't reset that. Oh, man. Alright, well, let's go ahead and speed up and get through this flight. We're starting to porpoise a little bit, so we'll see what happens. 109. not porpoising a lot, so we're okay. Okay, now we're
Alaska
porpoising.
622, descend and maintain 70,900.
Okay. Try this again.
Seabird 284, descend and maintain 70,300.
Descend and maintain 7,300. Speedbird 284.
Alright, VOR needs adjustment. There we go. Don't like this mountain right here. I think we're gonna get past it, but I'm a little concerned. 68 nautical miles out. I think we're gonna be okay though. See if the wind causes us trouble as we get by it here. Alright, let's slow down and work on our heading there. Okay. Alright. So we are getting close to our airport. And whoa. No. Oh man, we got a fuel issue again. So let's go ahead and pull up our tab. Same thing as before. Let's just go ahead and get a couple extra. Wrong way to do it, but we're doing it. You know what would be interesting? I don't know if we can do this while we are flying, which is totally cheating. Let's go 50. Good aircraft. Alright. Nope, even with it fully loaded, unfortunately, it's not giving us the extra points. That's okay. That's fine. One can dream. Alright, 204. So somewhere around here is going to be a runway. Let me check our speed here. Alright. I think we're flying real time again. And I'm not going to wait for the VOR this time. We're going to start heading for our nav 1. So let's go to CDI, to localizer 1. OBS is off on localizer 1. And we can begin our approach. Now, it looks like Localizer 1 has not captured yet, but we do at least have a general idea of where we're supposed to be to get on that Localizer 1, which is, once again, 110.3. This is kind of the scenario that I don't like. I lean on my little nav map to get me in, and I'm not a fan of that. Let's go ahead and start our descent. Down. So let's go 6,000 feet to start with vertical sync on. And we're going to start going down at 500 feet per second as we begin our approach in to the airport, which I'm assuming is somewhere in that valley. Because we are going to overshoot the airport. And I guess that's kind of what you do. You're supposed to overshoot the airport to get a visual, and then by that you would know where your ILS is. Ish. Now right now our localizer has no reading and we're not getting a connection. We know the runway that we're trying to get into is going to be runway 14. So if I was to go ahead and take our barometer, not our barometer, let me see if I can get any stats on this runway. So COM 1, nearest airport list, and we're looking for airports further from you, KMFR.
Bedford Tower, Legacy Air India Mike Sierra 8022, is tree 1 miles northeast, 8300, with whiskey to land.
Okay. I want her to see the ATIS. It's not working.
Medford Airport Information Whiskey 0100 Zulu. Windcom. Visibility Niner. Sky condition clear. Temperature 15. Dew point 1 tree. Altimeter 29992. ILS runway 14 in use. Landing and departing runway tree 2. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have whiskey.
Whiskey. Alright, great. So now we can go ahead and... She's going to repeat herself unless I figure out how to switch this. Let's do... if we have to listen to it over and over, that's fine. So we're going to go ahead and set this to 140. And that will help us get into our localizer. Let's go ahead and... see, our heading bug is on. So let's go ahead and go 90 degrees with our localizer. We're coming up on 6,000 feet. Oh, maybe our runway's in there. That looks like a more open space. If not there, then... I don't know, we're still 23 nautical miles out. I want to be careful how far down I come. I see the ILS. We're going to go ahead and turn on the APR, or approach mode. That's on. Let's go ahead also and bring down our altimeter, or altimeter, down to 4,000 with VS on, coming down at 900 feet per minute. We're about to go over speed, so I'm going to go ahead and cut back on our throttle, because we need to come back a lot to get ready to line up with this runway. We are below the glide slope, so that's excellent. I'm going to go ahead then and make a very strong executive decision that we're going to sit at 6,000 feet. So that's correcting for 6,000 feet right now. Our speed is still dropping, which I'm okay with. Still coming into our localizer. APR is still on. So our runway must be somewhere over here then. Or over here. That could be something there. We are, according to my ILS localizer 1, 90 degrees to the runway. And I can verify that's the truth with my little nav map, which I hate looking at that because it just feels like a tease. It feels like I'm cheating. It's not a purposeful effort. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So we're sitting at 6,000 feet very happily. We're coming down to speed pretty nicely. Let's go ahead and pop out our landing gear. And 10 degrees of flaps. As we are 17 knots out, or miles out. Still don't have a visual of the runway. won't take us long. Nose is tipping up. Speed's coming down. Like to sit about 100 right now. Glide slope is heading towards us here any second now. That has me a tiny bit concerned. So let's go ahead and drop down to 5,000 feet because we are not near our localizer yet. Let's go ahead and drop with the vertical sync. And we're going to go ahead and make this, let's do 4,000 feet. I really don't want that low. I want us to meet the localizer glide slope, so I want to stay below it until I'm in the right spot. And then we're going to start babying it in at 200 feet per minute. Okay. Heading is still good. Autopilot is on. Yaw dampener is good. Vertical sync is good. Dropping at 800 feet per minute. And IMFR is correct at 110.3. Flaps are down 10 degrees. Landing gear is down with 3 in the green. We are not lined up on local yet. I do think we might want to alter our heading in a 45-degree angle because we're not even on band yet, so we will rotate in. Have no visual of our airport yet either, as far as I can tell. Nothing yet. Okay. Alright. Glide slope is above us, which I am thankful for. Let's just do 4,500. There we go. And we are getting close. Waiting for that localizer to move. And we're still turned on, so when we hit, we hit. 4,500. Glide slope seems steady. Is it coming down still? Yeah, it's slowly moving down. I don't know if we're going to hit them at the same time. Our speed is 116. At the moment, I'm okay with that, but we're going to have to pop our flaps here. Another 10 here in a second. We're really trying to hold on now to that. Alright, let's go ahead and drop down to 3,500 with VS. Just trying to keep that glide slope above us. Gonna turn more into the VOR, into the ILS, because that VOR is not coming up fast enough for what I'm seeing with our glide slope, so I feel like we need to attack it more directly. Okay. I've found that the 3,500 is usually a pretty good safe zone. Let's go full flaps, for better or for worse. Full flaps. Okay. Plane's trying to correct. Nursing my throttle real gentle-like. Still no visual of our airport. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay. We're getting there. Hopefully. Ooh, that's a lot of bugs. Okay. As soon as I see that move, then we'll 45 in. Throttle. Why isn't it moving? There it goes, there it goes. Alright, and we have lock. Locator 1 is in, returning to match. Glide slope's coming in. Alright. 96 knots. Gear down. Flaps at 20 degrees. Nice alignment with the runway. Glide slope has still sitting above us, so we haven't captured VS yet. Should be any minute now. We know it's 29902, so hopefully our approach will be a little smoother this time. Also checking to make sure that we're not going mega slow like we were before. Doesn't look like it. Alright, we have glide slope. So now we're definitely on our way in. Doing 104. I'm going to go ahead and pull back on our throttle slightly. Once again, gotta get on the ground here under 200 feet per second. Will be challenging as I get down here. We do have a glide slope of 3 degrees. And we're falling at 550 feet per second at the moment. Throttling back a bit here, see if we can get about 90. We know that 75 is on rotation for takeoff. So I want to get us between 85 and 90 for landing. $2,700 feet. All right, we're sitting at 89. Feel pretty good about that. The faster you go, the more your nose points forward. The slower you go, the more your nose sticks up to climb and you drop airspeed. So understanding that helps you kind of figure out how to get in here. KMFR, according to Little Nav Map, says it has a pressure of 30.15 when Flight Simulator says it has a pressure of 29902. So it's very interesting and a bit unfortunate. Alright, so we're at 86, 2,100 feet. Coming in pretty nicely at the moment. This doesn't feel as far off, but those pappy lights are helping out. We're sitting at 81 knots. Coming in reasonably. Autopilot off. We're 300 feet per second, 200, 150.
Transporter from dispatch. Nice landing.
Thank
Go
you.
to
That's
the parking and put your parking brake on.
the
I'll
best
be in
one I've
touch.
done yet. I think I've figured this out a
Taxi
little
to
better.
parking and shut down your engine.
Nice. Well, that's going to do it for our little flight today, I think. I'm going to go up and hang out with the dogs. My wife is having a good time with some friends. She deserves it, so that's going to do it for me. But I think I ended on a pretty good note. That was a pretty reasonable landing for my experience with the DA-62. Using ILS is the big savior, but there's that is still very telling on trying to come in smoothly. And one of these days yes, I turned off my autopilot at a pretty reasonable time frame, I think. Let's get some speed and find out how to get over here. There we go. So let's turn in here. Okay. And I'm just going to stop right here. Right on this yellow marker. All right, beautiful. That was a very successful flight. In every situation, following VORs,
Okay, pilot.
following the whole
Removing
9
the fragile
yards.
goods may take a little longer than normal. Stand by.
All right, everything is shut down. We are safe to disembark. Nice. So there we go. And let's see.
Transporter from dispatch. Cargo unloaded and checked. It is always a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you. Feel good about that. All right, let's go ahead and check on our other pilots.
Start your engine.
All right, KEDW looks like he's ready for a new job. So let's go ahead and first off check on our pilots. Make sure that they're all fueled up. He desperately needs some fuel. Okay, how are you doing, bud? He's full fuel. He's doing good on his plane. Both these planes are in perfect condition for the most part. So let's get you a job. Highest bid. Alright, there you go. Job added for you. You're ready to go, so feel free to get on your way. And you, my friend, Too heavy for you. Too heavy for you. Also too heavy for you. Whoa. What's up? Is he still flying? He's not still flying. There isn't a job for him. What's this? Mechanical parts. Destination KCVO. Did he never take off on his previous hop? That was what happened. Oopsie. Okay. And the other thing I need to check is how their health is doing, because I'm having them fly a lot. Oh, they're doing good. Perfectly fine. Okay. They're doing good. Good work. I would love to hire an extra pilot just to take over for me when I'm not flying. I don't know what the reality is of that. Or to have a co-pilot that could take over. Manager pilots. Airline, Legacy Air, $200 a week. Switch to online jobs management. Edit your airline name and logo. 0 a week. Runways longest. Well, we don't have an airport yet, but that will be a thing in the future. We have, let's see, one free plane, $10,000 investing interest, but I am looking. Oh, we haven't even tried this yet. Huh. Any planes worth checking out? X-Cub? No. Nothing really affordable worth interest right now. Cute little Robin Cap 10, which would be a cute little plane to put a pilot in. Savage Cub Rescue, $56,000 with a rentable option. Oh, deposit of $5,000? Price per flight hour, $33? Okay, we're renting this one. That's super affordable, and if I can find a pilot to fly it, then that would be excelente. So let's see if we can find a pilot to join us. So we have 2 hired pilots. Manager pilots. View pilot market. Okay, so 205 pounds. 700, 500 a day. Slower health loss. Better long flight endurance. Better landing and maneuvering. Well, we would definitely need that. 800 a day. Slower health loss. Better long flight endurance. Okay. This guy at $800 a day seems interesting to me over Ghost Rider. What is, like... Okay, wow. These guys are all pretty well cleared. He's only an A rank. So I need a little bit more oomph. What's ABCD? Magellan. That's a cool name. $1,000 a day. And what are my pilots? None? Okay. I wonder what would happen if we got this guy. No. Need a little bit more endurance. Iceman might be the best bet. 700. Iceman versus Hurricane. Hurricane isn't as heavy. We're going to hire Hurricane. Okay. So now that we've hired Hurricane, let's see if we can get her into an aircraft. So choose a pilot. So I need to get Hurricane over to force pilot to land at the nearest airport. Checked, we'll try to sell market goods. Hired pilot. We'll chain jobs. So my pilot right now is WA00. So I need to get her to this Asobo zone. And I could fly it if I wanted to. She's empty right now. So how do I get my pilot here? Let's see where my pilot is. Because I'm pretty sure I can fly her to where I need her. Yeah, here we are. Can learn new certs. Move pilot to a new location. We need her to go to the zone. And $5,000. Yeah. Dang. That's expensive. Alright, well, hopefully that'll get her there. And then hopefully I can pop her into this plane. And now we can get an extra job. So she... Let's see what kind of work we can get for her. Okay, she can handle this. Let's see what happens. And let's send her on her way. I wish I could control this over my phone. Because this is pretty fun to be able to run an airport. Flight simulator connection status. I think it'd be really cool if you could control this from your phone. That way you can just keep sending them on hops throughout the day. But I mean, that'd just be neat. I'm gonna look it up just for giggles.